How's it going, everyone? I am Kobe Smith, Maryland and DC realtor, and thank you all for coming for the quarterly real estate market update. What we'll be discussing is what's happening now in the real estate market, what's coming next in this real estate market, and how to position yourself as a home buyer, home seller, or real estate investor. Like I said, I'm Kobe Smith, realtor and real estate developer. I'm the team lead for Chateau Seekers at Keller Williams Capital Properties. I help first-time home buyers, families, investors build wealth through real estate. I'm known for professionalism, integrity, and strong negotiation skills. And I'm also a former hockey player turned entrepreneur. I'm the president of the Greater Baltimore Leadership Association, and I sit on the board of the Greater Baltimore Urban League and the Greater Bethesda Chamber, as well as sit as the co-chair of the Real Estate Committee for the Greater Bethesda Chamber. I'm also founder of Reach, the Real Estate Achievers Collective Hub. My mission is helping people build wealth, create opportunity, and turn dreams into reality through real estate. So the purpose of this session is to provide a clear, data-driven insight into Maryland and DC real estate market, connect economic trends and housing policy to real-world market outcomes, set realistic expectations for buyers, sellers, and investors in today's market, identify opportunities and risks shaping the current and upcoming quarter, and help attendees make informed strategic real estate decisions. So, why is this market feeling so confusing? Maryland and DC face a persistent housing shortage. Home prices remain elevated despite slower activity. Mortgage rates are higher than pandemic era norms, and new construction does not always align with buyer and investor demand. Maryland state of the economy. So right now, Maryland is experiencing a long-term housing affordability challenge. Housing costs have risen significantly faster than income. Supply constraints are structural, not temporary, and housing availability is increasingly shaping economic growth and migration. This is from the Maryland Comptroller, and she also mentions in her statement that Maryland has or needs to build 30,000 homes by the year 2030 every single year. So that's 30,000 homes every year to the year 2030 just to meet demand, not to exceed it, just to meet demand. And we're currently building 18,000 homes. So that's a 12,000 home difference. And we need to figure out how to make up that gap. So, housing and migration trends. Housing costs are driving where people live. Maryland has lost residents to more affordable states. Housing affordability is now a primary driver of migration. States gaining Maryland residents have lower homeownership and rental costs. And demand remains strong, but increasingly selective by price and location. So, supply, regulation, and cost to build. Why housing isn't being built fast enough. Maryland has a estimated shortage of 100,000 housing units. New homes and housing production lags population and housing household growth. Regulatory and approval costs significantly impact development, feasibility, and limited supply continues to support elevated prices. What that means for this market. Slower sales do not automatically lead to price drops. Well-located housing remains competitive. Entry-level and missing middle housing is undersupplied. And long-term demand remains strong despite short-term uncertainty. Governor Moore's housing growth and affordability agenda lists out housing shortage is a top economic priority for Maryland and focuses on increasing housing supply while supporting affordability. Housing policy tied directly to economic growth and workforce retention, and emphasizes on transit density and long-term sustainability. So key legislative focus areas for 2026 housing policy. Transit-oriented development, TOD expansion, zoning flexibility near high-quality transit, reduced barriers to housing production, and incentives to unlock underutilized land. So what I just discussed about Governor Wes Moore's agenda and these next couple slides are something that they are discussing in Annapolis right now. They're presenting bills, they're reviewing bills that will either support or hinder this plan. This first one is the Starter and Silver Homes Act, and it's extending attainable housing options, encourages smaller single-family homes, expands townhome development statewide, supports more flexible lot sizes, and targets first-time buyers, downsizers, and workforce housing. Housing Certainty Act. This is reducing risk and delays on housing development. Greater regulatory certainty for builders, deferred impact fees to improve project feasibility, faster approvals, and fewer cost surprises. And the goal is to increase supply without sacrificing standards. So, what policy means for housing supply? Policy impacts the market timeline. Policy changes influence supply gradually. Meaningful inventory growth takes time, and near-term supply remains constrained. Long-term opportunities emerge in growth corridors. So Maryland home price trends. Prices are stabilized in many submarkets. Fewer bidding wars, but strong homes still move quickly. Price sensitivity varies by neighborhood and housing type, and strategy matters more than timing. In Washington, D.C., price trends show that neighborhood level performance varies significantly. Condos require precise pricing and positioning, and strong financing and preparation matters. Walkability and lifestyle premiums remain strong. And interest rates in context. Rates are higher than pandemic lows, but historically normal. Monthly payment matters more than the headlines rates, and creative structuring and credits play a large role. Prepared buyers gain negotiating leverage. What buyers can expect? More negotiation leverage than recent years, fewer bidding wars, but quality homes remain competitive. Preparation and financing strength are key, and opportunity favors informed, decisive buyers. What sellers can expect? Pricing accuracy is critical. Overpricing leads to longer market time. Presentation and marketing matters again, and strategic positioning drives results. What investors can expect? Fewer obvious deals, more selective opportunities. Longer term fundamentals still support investment, and cash flow and appreciation must be balanced. Location and strategy matter more than volume. So, neighborhoods to watch out for. This slide is focusing specifically on transit adjacent neighborhoods. Silver Spring, Maryland has Red Line, Mark, Purple Line connection, dense renter plus buyer demand. Capitol Heights, Maryland has the Blue Line access, TOD redevelopment underway, and NOMA, DC has Union Station and metro access, employment-driven demand. This slide focuses more on the areas with infrastructure investment. New Carrollton, Maryland has transit hub redevelopment, MARC, Amtrak, Metro. Anacostia, DC has streetscape, housing, and public investment. And White Oak, Maryland has life sciences corridor, hospital, and mixed use investment. This slide focuses on communities with limited new supply. Tacoma, DC has zoning limits and strong owner occupancy. Chevy Chase, Maryland has very constrained inventory, consistent demand, and Brooklyn, DC has limited large scale development remaining. This slide focuses on the path of progress locations, not hype-driven areas. Langley Park, Maryland has the Purple Line impact, affordability, and density shift. Denwood, DC has the metro access, lower price point, and gradual reinvestment. And Suitland, D, Maryland has federal employment-based transit under the radar pricing. So, how to position yourself this quarter? For buyers, get fully prepared before shopping. For sellers, price for today's market, not yesterday's. For investors, underwrite conservatively and think long term. And everyone overall should focus on fundamentals, not fear. So, next steps after this call. Schedule a one-on-one strategy session. We'll review your specific goals, timelines, and financial position. We'll create a personalized plan based on today's market condition. We'll identify opportunities and risks unique to your situation, and we'll leave with clarity, direction, and next actions. You can use this link to schedule your call, and I'll also send this link out in my follow-up email after this call. Like I said, I'm Kobe Smith, Maryland, DC Realtor. Thank you all for attending. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and I'll get to them so that we can get them answered. Thank you.